What's going on, y'all? My name is Afia Rise, and I get this question all the time, so I figured I would answer it in video format. Oftentimes I get this question, Lacey or Afia, um, is there a specific way that you have to live out the poly lifestyle? And my answer is no. The only thing that polygamy means is that you practice having multiple loves. And that can look however you so choose. If you're practicing polygyny, then that means that you have multiple wives. If you're practicing polyandry, it means that you have multiple husbands. And if you're practicing polyamory, you tend to be a lot more fluid and non-committal, and the change of your partners may happen a lot more fluid in polyamory as opposed to polygyny or polyandry. Those tend to be focused around actual commitments like marriages and relationships with titles and longevity. But separate from that, there are no guidelines for how you need to be poly. You can agree that everyone will live under the same roof. You can say, well, we don't want to live under the same roof. We want two different houses. We want um, uh, basically you have to know exactly what you want in the union. Do you want a hierarchy? Do you want there to be a legally married couple as part of the union, or do you want contractual marriage with each individual in the union? But you can make it look like however you so choose. So these questions have to be well thought out and communicated to the other partners involved. Some women do not want to live under the same roof. Some women do not want to share the same bed. Some women do not even want to share the same house. So you have to have those conversations. And that doesn't make you any less poly, because you don't live with your husband. You don't live with your sister wife. Those things don't make you less poly. All of us are practicing poly, but the dynamics and the interworkings, the system and how everything functions is going to be exclusive to the parties in that relationship. So there are a lot of things to negotiate. Some women want an intimate partner, some men want a business partner. Your partners don't have to be intimate, they don't have to be someone that you are tapping into to create children. There are some people that are practicing poly that don't want children. So there's a lot of room for you to create the lifestyle that you would like to. There's even when it comes to people who have a preference in no specific gender, they have no gender preference. This is a good thing that you may want to practice, because you may have one of each gender to build a union with. Some people are not focused on intimacy at all. However, they would like multiple partners to do business with. And these are the people that stimulate your mind, motivate you, cause you to experience motivation and drive because of the energy you get to pull from them. They can also be poly partners. All you have to do is lay out the groundwork. Are these people allowed to have relationships outside of the relationship that they have with you? If you're only tapping into them, or they're only part of your union because of business purposes, then obviously they may have intimate needs. So you have to ask about those intimate needs. If you want things to be exclusive, if you do or don't want to share your partner, those things are conversations that you need to have. Even as a married woman, if you're a married woman and you and your husband are considering bringing in a third party, you do have the say to at least sit down with your husband and say, you can bring in another woman. She can be my sister wife, but I am not okay with you guys tapping into each other intimately. If that is something that he doesn't need to be met, and he's only bringing this woman in as a business partner, then that's something that you two can discuss. It doesn't automatically mean that all parties involved are going to be intimate. It's about having the conversation. So Even though you have carefully witnessed my lifestyle, there are still so many variations that are completely different from how we live our lives specifically. And that's why, me in specific, I tend to not answer really detailed questions around poly, because you have to find what's best for you. You have to navigate that and learn to communicate what you need. Because if you cannot do that in a monogamous relationship, and then you get involved in your relationship and then you realize there's things that you didn't disclose, but yet you are expecting them, that can cause an even more bigger problem if you take that same behavior into a poly lifestyle, because now you're not just expecting one person to adjust to your wants and needs on the fly, you're expecting two people to adjust to your wants and needs. Whether or not you want children, whether or not you want a sister wife who has children, whether or not you want to help with those children if she has children, all of those things are conversations that you need to discuss. Poly is for grown people that know what they want, know where they've been, and they know where they're going. If you're still winging it in relationships, you might want to stick with monogamy, because the more parties that are involved in your union, the more complicated and frustrating it can become if there isn't clear communication and there isn't clear boundaries and understandings as to how everyone would like to be handled and what needs they would like met. There is nothing that's not on the table. There are some of you women that say, I wouldn't want to see my person with someone else. Okay. Have that discussion with him. You can set up things that would eliminate that for you, like having two separate houses, or setting up an arrangement where there are common areas in the home where you don't conduct yourself in that fashion. You keep it real appropriate, keep it real PG. You see what I'm saying? It's nothing more than a conversation. We have to stop looking at our lives as something that is happening to us and falling upon us. In reality, you should only be experiencing what you decided to go through and what you wanted to experience, which means you have the power to sit there and think about it for some time and decide, what do I need to make this work? What do I need to be content? What do I need to not feel jealous? What do I need to be happy with what I have within this union? What does my husband need to give to me so I do not have to worry about how he feels in relationship with my other sister wife? How do I make sure I'm not insecure? How do I make sure that I am experiencing all the value and self-worth? How do I make sure I feel special? What do I need to do, and how do I need to grow and evolve and heal? And what does he need to do to support me being able to be happy in this situation? All of those things are about communication. And I would agree that, or I would say that people that experience poly and are proficient in living in a poly lifestyle are learning to broaden their horizons and learning how to work with any personality type, because once you're in a commitment, you can't just drop it and walk off soon as things do not present to you in the way that you expected. You have to learn to commit. You have to learn to get through it. You have to learn to discuss it, and you have to learn to overcome it through communication. And unfortunately, in this day and age, most people do not have the skills to not run away from their problems. And that's a big reason why a lot of people are shying away from even being open to the conversation. And it's because they lack the ability to understand that there's actually a ton of benefits to this lifestyle. There's also a lot of reasons why you can have more time for yourself, and all these different things that you didn't know perhaps were problems in your previous relationships. Just remember to have the conversation and try not to get distracted about what their agenda is and what they're getting for themselves. Your focus has to be about you and what you need to be happy, peaceful, and harmonic. Peace.